Mhm. Haha, there we go. Okay. Hi there, Shutterbugs. Again, getting through some technical difficulties getting onto live. Long time no see. It's definitely been a few months, and I'm so ashamed to say that. Nothing but excuses on my part, but I'm hoping that finally getting to this live that I promised you guys a little bit ago will help me jump right back onto helping you guys in YouTube. There's Roxy. Um, I'm really hoping that because I have projects that still need to be done, I have footage already recorded. I just have to sit and do it. But there's been a lot going on, so I'm hoping that I can come back for you guys bigger and better than ever. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. So thought I would jump on today and go over some long-awaited questions and comments that have been left since really I moved last year. I've kind of gone through some of them, but honestly, it's like that's probably the biggest thing I feel guilty for is leaving you guys hanging with questions unanswered. So, thought I would just hop on live and do that while I'm here. And if you have your questions somewhere in there and want it answered in the middle of my live, then you can ask because I have my chat box open and we can kind of go from there. So, go ahead and open up. Whoop, that's me on live. And that's my comments. Okay, so as you can see, there are a lot. And when it comes to comments and questions, even if it's just a comment, I like to at least like the comment so you guys can see that I saw it, I'm acknowledging it. I don't want you guys to think that you're not being seen. And oh my gosh, there's so many. So many that I haven't gone through this live. Might take all night, I hope not. That's 6 months unanswered. 7, oh my god. There's no way I've left you guys this long, really? It doesn't feel like that. I mean, I moved 6 months ago, but gosh, no, look, it's. Oh my gosh, guys, I'm so sorry. I love you guys, I promise. Oh my god. So many comments and oh my gosh. Let's see. I know there's more. I know there's more until I see one that I have actively liked. Oh my god. How many are these? I should start a counter. Alright, let's see. Let's see. Come on. I gotta be getting to the end here. There's no way. Because I know that I've gone through some of these. Oh, there we go. There's the blue. Okay. Oh, for some reason. Oh, that one didn't show up blue for some reason. Okay. So, I'm thinking I'm gonna start a little tick marker thing here because I'm curious on how much I should shame myself after I'm done. So, all right. So we have from Mr. and Repascal said, "You are the best teacher. Thank you very much. I appreciate it." And this, of course, is for the Canon T8i walkthrough. One question in settings, no mention of Mexico City time. How could I set it to Mexico City? We want to change our clocks. No more. It will be the same forever. Well, I suppose you would just look at what time zone Mexico City is in. Unfortunately, I do not know everyone's time zones, so let's just see Mexico City time zone. Because I know, like, for a lot of people that are, like, in Oregon or Washington, they would pick the Los Angeles time zone that's listed on the back of the camera because they don't do it by, like, a time zone necessarily, they do it by a city or location that's very popular. So that's something that you would have to keep in mind. So Central Standard Time is what you would be on. And so, let's see, Central Standard Time. Let's see, popular city for Central Standard Time. Costa Rica. I think that is actually what shows up on the back of Canon. Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Nicaragua. That Panama would be an exception, I guess. But all those other ones would be a central time zone. So we are going to respond to Mr. N. Rebascal. Like, hello. So sorry for the delayed response. Finally getting to these. For Mexico City, it would be Central Standard Time. See, I don't like to just be like, I don't know, look it up. I like to, like, if you guys have the time to go and comment and ask a question, even if I have to do the research, I'm happy to get to you guys on that. It would be Central Standard Time, so I believe Canon shows Costa Rica or El Salvador, Guatemala, to meet that time zone. That helps. Reply. Okay. Next person, Henry Calderon Jr. Thank you. You're very welcome. I appreciate the thank yous, even. Like, super sweet and simple. Don't mind that. And that was on Tips and Tricks Panasonic 1-point color feature. I assume that you found that successful or helpful. Let's see, Marianne Kirshner, 8979, for the Panasonic G7 walkthrough, said this was so helpful. Thank you for taking the time to go over the camera. The manual just doesn't do it. I agree, and that's why I have been doing it. So I'm glad that you found it more helpful than the manual has been. Audio Mitch 7881 for the Nikon 50mm 1.8 comparisons for the Z and the regular f mount. Weather sealing should be a consideration too. The Z lens is weather seals, the adapted lens is not. That is true, absolutely. So it is something to be considered. Like, absolutely. Thank you for adding. Thank you for adding that. Perfect. All right, let's see here. Andrew Kamoha 4666 for the Sony W830 walkthrough. What about some pic samples? Now, when it comes to questions like this, I hope that you guys realize, and maybe I thought that I made it pretty obvious, but let me open it up because I need to make sure. So let's see here. Let's can I just, I don't want to take it over, but because you're gonna go and start over, aren't you? Okay. Okay, maybe I'll just look it up. So let me scroll all the way back down. I was afraid to do that too. Usually it's like, oh, open in another tab, and it didn't offer that. Frustrating. And in case you're wondering why I'm wearing a beanie inside, one, I didn't feel like doing my hair any more than this today. Plus, I had to run down to the grocery store, and I live in Alaska now. So it's cold out there. I'll keep my ears warm, and I didn't feel like taking it off indoors. And if that is something that is, because I didn't even think about it, if it might be considered disrespectful, I don't mean it that way. I just want to keep my head warm and save on my heating bill. Meanwhile, I'm in a short sleeve shirt, so once a California girl, always a California girl, I guess. I don't know. Because in California, it was normal to be like, oh, wear shorts and a sweater. And out here, it's like, oh, wear leggings and shorts and short sleeve shirt. I don't know. I'm just like, I just embrace anywhere I'm at. Anywhere. All right, come on. Oh, oof. I got into where I was liking and was not paying attention. Come on, come on, come on. Go back up. Aha, there we go. Okay. So, what about some pick samples? So let's take a look. So if we go to, sorry, I had to figure out why my thing wasn't allowing me to stream. And we go to my W830. Let's go YouTube Studio. Go to content. W830. There we go.
Hi there, this is Heather, Shutterbug 101. Today we'll be doing a walkthrough of the very small and simple Sony DSC W830. Let's get started.
There's the old intro. Me and my husband worked so hard on that. Even the glitter effect.
The Sony W830 is a 20 megapixel half-inch sensor point-and-shoot camera that has an 8x zoom equivalent to a 25 to 200 millimeter
so there's
lens,
video
optical
sample,
stabilization, and it's
photo
all
samples.
automatic.
So when I'm going through the beginning here and I'm talking about the features of the camera, all of this video and photos are actually directly from the camera that I'm talking about. I don't just put random pictures of people and my friends up here for the sake of having them up. So yes, absolutely. Yes, the photo and video done while I discuss the camera's features are from the camera itself, so you can see what it can do. There you go. Okay. From K. Craig PJ for the Nikon P950 walkthrough. I just purchased this camera, and in the lower left corner is a flashing red circle that looks to be an L in the middle. Is this a low battery warning? Oh, that is interesting. If I'm not mistaken, that actually might be an indicator for low lighting. Let me see here. Blinking red L, Nikon P950. Oh, it's the clock symbol. That's what the L is. It's the circle with L in it. It's a clock. It just means that I believe that's just the timer. Clock. Date and time are not set in your camera. That is all that means. So, as soon as you set your date and time, that should actually go away. So, I'll go ahead and answer that. that would actually be a clock. The camera would like you to set the date and time, and then it should go away. Sorry it took so long to answer. There. Reply. Alrighty. Alright, from Chris Wheeler, 1947. Who is a subscriber. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. For the Panasonic FZ300 walkthrough. Excellent tutorial for a very amateur photographer. Nothing wrong with that. I was following instructions on my camera and was delighted to learn how to use some of the features. Thank you, Heather. You're welcome, Chris Wheeler, 1947. I really appreciate you. So I'm just going to like that one. All right, so let's see here. Geonix 7267 for the Just the Samples Panasonic S5 video. You guys have really liked those Just the Samples videos, and makes me feel good. So I'm really glad that you like those. Those were your idea, by the way. So thank you for having that. It says very capable camera. Thanks for the images. You're very welcome, and thank you for subscribing. Here we go. We have XX underscore the Artful Dodger. The Artful Dodger, XX1105, Panasonic FZ80, the FZ82 walkthrough. Late to the party here. I am much later than you are, but I just bought this, and being a complete camera virgin, I can at least dive in with a small amount of confidence. Thank you. Well, I hope in the last year that you've had a lot of fun with that camera. You know, I'm sure you're not the only one. There's a lot of tools and things to learn on that camera, so I hope that you've had the chance to play with those, and that you found more inspiration than discouragement. And of course, hopefully, if you decide to ask any questions, I can get back to you sooner than a year. So I'm going to go ahead and like that one. Here we go. Neil Allen, 4044 for Panasonic ZS200 walkthrough. Very helpful. Thanks. Thank you. Glad I could help. Becky G, 3645 for the Canon PowerShot G7X Mark III walkthrough. Such a wonderful job. I just got my camera. Awesome work. Very helpful. Thank you. I hope that you've enjoyed your camera. Let's see. The Explored Perspective. I like that name. For the Tips and Tricks Sony's Imaging Edge mobile app. Are you able to save the images in the camera? I'm trying to take self-portraits, and like that I can reset the focus, but then I notice the images aren't stored on the card. What am I doing wrong? That's interesting. Trying to take self-portraits. So I guess my question would be, because I know when using the Imaging Edge mobile app, they're supposed to not just save on the card, but it also, by default, saves a copy to your phone as well. Are the copies being copied to your phone and not the card, or just not at all? Because it's possible that maybe it's not taking the picture at all, but I guess that would kind of be where I would start on that. So that's something I would have to kind of break down a little bit. Hello? So sorry. It has taken me so long to get back to you. Hopefully by now you have figured out the issue, but I am curious if the photos are being saved to your phone and not the card, or just not at all. Right, perfect. So we'll go ahead and reply to that. Okay, here we go. We have Art Neva 7917 for the Sony W830 walkthrough. Hello, this camera have Spanish language. I want to buy one. It comes from Japan, but the seller tells me it only has Japanese language. Well, I'm hoping that you didn't gamble and buy it anyway, because what a lot of people don't realize is there are a lot of gray market cameras out there, from big expensive ones to even point and shoots. And what this means is it doesn't necessarily come directly from the manufacturer. Therefore, it could have cheaper or inaccurate parts. It could be very limited to its software. For example, only have Japanese as an available language, which can be very frustrating. If you purchase the camera from the manufacturer or a shop that works directly with the manufacturer that has that guarantee, it's going to have Spanish as an optional language. So that is always going to be the safest bet, is buying from a reputable shop that does support from the manufacturer itself. And then you have the manufacturer warranty as well. So I'm going to go ahead and let our neighbor know. Hello, so sorry it had taken me so long to get back. I wouldn't risk the buy in this case just because the camera from the manufacturer does have the option for Spanish. This camera may be a gray option and may not give you the choice in language. Funny, there's a dog barking outside, and Roxy is such a good girl. She knows that I'm recording. I hear her kind of like giving off little whines like she wants to bark, but she won't because I'm recording. But watch me say that and then she start barking. I guess we'll see. Perfect. Okay. Next one. Highway Diva 2334 for the Panasonic G7 walkthrough. Woo! Thank you for your video. By far the best video of my new G7. I'll be coming back often. Very often. Well, I thank you so much for watching, and thank you for letting me know that it was helpful. For Dovidel, for the Nikon B600 walkthrough. Too many people buy DSLRs when all they really need is something like this. You're not wrong. I think a lot of people get overwhelmed and they get wrapped up in the idea that, they get wrapped up in the idea of what's the best camera, what's going to get me the best photos. But for someone, and I've had this conversation with a few people, because a lot of people have the bad habit of going on Google and just going, what's the best camera? And really the question is what's the best camera for you, right? When it comes to finding the best camera, you could spend $5,000-$6,000 on the best camera and not utilize any of those functions that make it that much. I had one gentleman come in that said, give me a $5,000, $6,000 camera when I was working in California. And I took the time, and, I could have been that salesperson and like, done, I'm getting it out the door, but I'm not that person. I was like, well, I'm just curious, what do you want to take pictures of? Like, what is what's required of you? It's like, oh, well, taking pictures of friends and family and vacations. I won't print any bigger than like an 8x10. Well, that $5,000-$6,000 camera is going to be like big on megapixels. You can blow it up large and have all these crazy tools for like studio photography. And it's just like, or you could spend $1,000 and get like a really nice crop sensor camera or something like that so if you wanted to still have the ability to change lenses and stuff like that, but if you're not printing any bigger than 8x10, and it's like, ask questions. It's okay. You're easily going to find someone that's going to sell you the most expensive camera or the best camera out there. But to find somebody that really wants to find the best camera for you, it's a whole nother level. Find what's going to be good for you. It's going to be much more worth your money. All right. And I see someone post or did a chat say gray market cameras are usually identical but don't have any warranty in a country that isn't intended for. Sometimes. Most of the time that is the case, but you would actually be surprised, Roy Bixby. I'd seen people buy it on Amazon from a third-party seller or a shop that deals with gray market cameras where they're getting it for cheaper than the manufacturer price, and after a month it'll like stop focusing or it just won't turn on anymore. And so sometimes there's actually parts that get swapped out for cheaper parts. And there's no way of telling unless you send it to the manufacturer and they go, yeah, that's not ours and we're not touching it. So it's like, it's really a gamble, and usually not worth it. I mean, if you're getting it for a steal of a price and you go, yeah, you know what? It is what it is. Now I have a paperweight that I can put on my shelf and it looks cool. I don't know. But yeah, the majority of cases, the camera can still work well, but if something happens to it, it voids any sort of warranty of whatever country you're in that it's not supported, and the company won't touch it, which is still a huge bummer, especially if you're only saving maybe $200. It's not worth it. Let's see here. Yukon Thorn. I can't, it's such a long name. I'm so sorry. 7942 for the Olympus EM10 Mark III walkthrough. I'm thinking of buying a secondhand EM10 Mark III because of the 4K video. Okay. Please advise the way of taking photo frames from the 4K video. I ever saw from my friends who use Panasonic Lumix and they could select the frames directly from the camera. So what they were doing with the Panasonic frames is that was the 4K burst that was being done. So if you just take that file and put it on the computer, it's a video, but in camera allows you to save pictures from that. That is actually something that's very Panasonic exclusive. So if you want the ability to do it on the camera, Panasonic is actually going to be the way to go for you. But when it comes to saving screen grabs from 4K video in general, you could do that for the Olympus, but you'd have to do that on a computer with a program. So it would really just be up to the process of what exactly you're wanting. So I'm going to go ahead and let them know. Sonic's 4K burst is actually exclusive to their cameras. So if you would like to do that in camera, get a Sonic. Otherwise, you can use a program on your computer to save screen grabs from the 4K images. There we go. Let's see. Annie Almkinder for the Panasonic G85 GX85 walkthrough that I bought this camera and was frustrated with the many options. Not alone. The booklet provided was weak, this video was super helpful for me. Great! I hope that you're a little less frustrated. I think with a lot of cameras these days, some more than others, with the buttons and dials on the outside, it can be very overwhelming. So hopefully my video made it a little less frustrating for you. All right, let's see, for Deborah Prozad Paul, 4632, the Panasonic FC80, FC82 walkthrough. Well explained. Well, thank you. Glad I was able to help. Amy Turner, 4820, for the Panasonic FC300 walkthrough. Thank you so very much for sharing this video. Are there notes somewhere for this video? No, but I suppose I could provide a write-out if that's something that everybody wants. Let's see here. I don't have any written documents, but if enough people are interested, I could maybe offer, I could see about gathering simple notes that are easier to read than the manual. Man, I do not know how to type. It's been forever. Documents. There we go. Reply. All right. Yeah, if you if you guys would prefer to read than watch a video, but you hate the manual and want something that's more of like a for dummies fashion, let me know, and maybe I can come up with something that that will benefit you guys. So let's see, Muhammad Al-Hamdi, 1586, for the Sony Alpha 1 walkthrough. Are you married? Yes, I am. Thank you for asking. It's very flattering. I'm just going to like it. I won't answer. Goodness. The Dirty Artist for the Nikon Z30 walkthrough. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. Okay. Monami 56. Tips and tricks, Canon Camera Connect app. For some reason, the connection I've loved so long stopped connecting. Do you have any tips on troubleshooting this problem? I think with just a lot of software, sometimes uninstalling it and reinstalling it and starting it again really can give it a nice boot and start working again. So that's probably what I would recommend in this situation. I would, what is it? Uninstall. Don't you hate it when you forget words in the middle of, like, you just said it? Install the app and reinstall and start the connection over. Remember, it can help if your phone is not connected to a home Wi-Fi. Perfect. Okay, Greg Fletcher, 99. Panasonic ZS80 walkthrough. Excellent video review. My wife and I have now purchased this camera and your video walkthrough is top notch. Oh, thank you. I have only one question that I can't really understand even after reading the advanced owner's manual. What is the best, quote unquote, type of SD card to use with this particular camera if you want to record videos in 4K? SD cards seem very confusing with lots of different types and sizes. I'd rather buy the highest quality card and the largest size so I can take a large number of photos, videos on an extended vacation. However, maybe it is wise to buy more than one card in case there's some sort of problem, since swapping out the SD card for another seems very easy to do. Appreciate any and all suggestions. Thank you. I know this is 1 year later, so hopefully you've come to a conclusion that you're happy with, Greg. But I guess you got pros and cons on either side. So you can buy the biggest card that this camera will take and the fastest, and just use that card every single time. The con, as you so put it, is if something goes wrong with it, right? If it suddenly becomes corrupted, or for some reason it stops reading in camera and you're in the middle of your vacation, it's nice to have at least one backup card. But if you carry too many cards, I've had clients say that they had their little book that had their cards in it, and that went overboard or it got lost, and now those parts of your trip are gone forever. So it really just depends on how you would like to do it. So along with my answer to this, I'm actually going to share my card video as well, because I did I want to view my channel. I did an SD card. I want to search my things. I did an SD card video kind of explaining the speeds and whatnot. And so that actually might help him quite a bit. Let's see, I know it's gray. Should be gray. There we go. Tips and tricks. What to know about SD cards. So I am going to give that a copy for him to look at as well. Hello, Greg. So sorry for the delayed response. There are pros and cons on both ends, but I would go with one main card and maybe one backup. Let's see, and then what's the max on the FC80? I believe it's like 128. It's fairly high, but I don't think you need to go that high with this camera. Panasonic CS80 SD. Yep, up to 128 gigabyte SD, SDHC, and SDXC memory cards. So the largest you can get is a 128 gigabyte. And as long as it has the U3 symbol, it should be perfect. Maybe do a 64 gigabyte and another for a backup, depending how much video you think you will do. Here is my video explaining SD cards as well, to hopefully clear some of that. Perfect. Okay. Sean Klein 5854 for the Panasonic FZ80, FZ82 walkthrough. Great vid. I have a FZ80. I want to connect to the computer, having a hard time getting the proper cable. Please, can you help? Thank you. So, this is a big thing for people, as well as a lot of people like to connect the camera directly to the computer. The only reason you should connect the camera to the computer is if you are updating firmware, and that's if the camera requires that or if it can do it through a card. To get your pictures off the camera, I would personally get an SD card reader specifically instead of you putting it in the camera and plugging the camera in, because then your pictures are going through the camera software to get to the computer versus just card to computer. So in that case, I would definitely recommend just getting a card reader. They're really inexpensive, like $25, like really nothing big at all. So instead of a cable, I would highly recommend getting an SD card reader. Hopefully that helps. All right, here we go. Grateful to Exist. I like that name too. Panasonic FZ80, FZ82 walkthrough. Hi Heather, how do I take multiple pictures in a row quickly? Is it called continuous shooting? For moving animals, I only see 4K burst mode. Is there another way? Thanks. Yes. So when you access your shooting modes, so you have a single shot, which is the one frame, you have continuous shots, which is the multiple squares, and you do have 4K burst, which is the multiple squares and a little 4K. So you wouldn't select the one with the 4K option, and you have your regular continuous shooting. Let's see here. Yes. Continuous shooting burst mode is the multiple squares without the 4K. You should be able to access it through your quick menu or shortcut button on the back. Really? You couldn't detect should? Thought you were supposed to be smart. Okay. Go. Susan Angiel Lombardo, 5824 for the Panasonic LX100 walkthrough. Thank you for your clear, easy to follow tutorial I looked at when I first got my camera, and now I'm back 8 months later for a review. Good! I'm so glad that you found it helpful to revisit twice, and hopefully, again, you continue to find it helpful to help you grow in the camera, and sometimes it takes some time, and no shame in that. Always something new to learn. Laura Rosenberg, 1810, for the Panasonic ZS100 walkthrough. I want to know how to fix my camera while I took video at night. It's very dark when I record my camera. How to adjust the dark to normal? Thanks. I'm curious how dark it was outside at nighttime. Because while this camera does, it's essentially a point and shoot camera with a micro Four Thirds sensor. Fantastic. Also has a nice wide open aperture option. But, oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. No, you have the ZS100. Still a point and shoot camera, but it has a 1/2 inch sensor. So it actually has the smallest sensor that you're going to find in these cameras. And therefore it has a hard time taking in light, especially because this camera, I believe that the biggest aperture is, I think it's 2.8 or 3.5. So depending on how dark it is outside, you're probably not going to have any luck adjusting that in camera. You're just going to have to actually add more physical light to your subject. I actually did a video in comparison to sensor sizes and why those matter. So let's see, I think I actually did it right around this time. Here we go, 4K video and how it differs in sensor sizes. So I'm going to include that video as well, because it does show like, hey, in proper lighting, all these look very similar, but hey, I turn the lights off and look how dark the smaller sensors get because it just doesn't have the capability. All right, let's see. Hello. Sorry, it has taken me so long to get back to you. For this camera, you are very limited in low light situations. So in the case of video at night, you may just need to manually enter in more lighting. Here is a video showing how your sensor size can be the culprit of that. Thank you. No. I said that you wouldn't bark. Don't prove me wrong. There we go. Okay. All right, let's see. Tom Cruikshanks for Panasonic FZ80, FZ82 walkthrough. I seem to be stuck in a mode that shoots multiple times instead of the single shot where I thought it was. I also have problems when I press the bottom of the wheel button. All I get is settings, etc. It's a beautiful little camera and I love it. It's perfect for what I want to do. Okay, yeah, I mean, unfortunately with all those buttons, sometimes things can go wrong. So I know that I'm getting back to him so late, so hopefully he's figured it out by now. Hopefully you have figured out this problem. Sorry it has taken me so long to answer. Let's see. You would want to access your shooting modes through your quick menu or shortcut on the back directional pad and set it to the single square versus the multiple stacked squares. Press the bottom of the wheel, and yeah, that I think that's supposed to happen. We need more details on that. Okay, so for EJR 2716 for the Nikon Z FC walkthrough, such an informative, clear, and helpful video, as are all your others I found. Thank you. Well, thank you. I'm glad that they're clear and helpful. I try. Another one from EJR 2716 for the Nikon Z5 walkthrough. Really, really helpful. I've just gotten one of these secondhand to return to photography as a hobby after many years. It's usually the case. And was feeling a bit daunted. You're not alone. Now your information here has made starting off with this camera much easier. Being female, I find so many other male camera demos are excellent too, but perhaps naturally don't seem to consider including vital aspects like handling of the camera, etc., as well as all of the tech. Like I was told that I have a bit of a gift for explanation of these things, and I have a teaching spirit, and I'm really glad that it's taken off like people thought it would. It definitely has surprised me. So I'm so glad that I could help you feel much more comfortable with your new camera and getting back into that passion. Independent Thinker 9218 for the Panasonic FZ300 walkthrough. Fantastic informative video. Thanks so much. You're welcome. Emmanuel 8366 for the Panasonic LX10 walkthrough. Great video, so helpful. Thank you. Did you do any other videos regarding the Lumix LX10? Any suggestions about what a beginner like me should watch next would be appreciated. This is actually the only one that I did with the LX10. There's not interchangeable lenses. It's a point and shoot camera. For me, the walkthrough was kind of like, this is it. So I have other Panasonic features like the 1-point color and the 4K burst and stuff like that. So I'd probably refer them to that if you wanted to get to know more of those. Hello. I didn't do any more than this with the LX10, but I have individual videos discussing the unique tools it has, like the 4K burst or 1 color. Look into those. I think I did like the post focus mode as well, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so we have use the Amazhev 3931. I'm doing my best to, say these names, so I apologize. Panasonic FZ80, FZ82 walkthrough. Hi, I have the same camera. First one I ever bought. I'm not a professional at all. That's fine. Most of us aren't. But do you know how to find the Bluetooth menu settings somehow? I checked every submenu and I couldn't find it. Let's see. When it comes to the FZ80, kind of like, because I don't, naturally I don't have all of these cameras in front of me. Let's see. FZ80, it's FZ300. Let's look back on the FZ80. Here we go. I don't need to hear my voice specifically, but I have an idea of where it is, but I want to be accurate. I believe it's actually in the custom menu. Let's see, blah, 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 blah. Action. Go back here. Let's see. Maybe it's in the wrench itself. Online. I think it's just the Wi-Fi. Yeah, I think that's it. I think it's all through the Wi-Fi setting. Let's see. Hi there. I believe the Wi-Fi option is the only key to connecting to your phone, if that is what you are looking for. Here is my video connecting to the app, if that helps. I'm also going to include that. I have the Panasonic connecting to the app. Let's see here. Here we go. Panasonic's image app. Share. Copy. There we go. That way she doesn't have to go and look for it. Hopi Raven for the Panasonic ZS80 walkthrough. Thank you. I looked at several videos, but yours was the best. Buying tonight. Awesome. I hope that you're enjoying it. Let's see. As you can see, I don't quite have a desk chair yet. I just have a fold-out chair, which is it's been one of my excuses of why I haven't want to just sit here. Me and my husband are currently borrowing one, but he's using it right now. So, and I really wanted to get on and do this weekend. So, we have Mark Finley, 3703 for the Panasonic FZ80, FZ82 walkthrough. Can an FZ80 use a remote shutter release? And if so, how do you hook it up? I've got one that works with my cell phone. I'd love one that works with the camera. So the FZ80 does not have a wired shutter release. The only way to do so is actually with the app. And that's in the case for, some cameras. So definitely, if that's something on your must-have list when you're looking to buy a camera, look to see if it takes a wired shutter release. Otherwise, you're stuck with your phone, which it still works, but it is what it is. With the FZ80, you would just use the Panasonic. Panasonic image app. Perfect. All right. Joelenka 4539 for the Panasonic FZ80. Hey, I popped my camera on charge. If it shows red, does that mean it's flat? I've had my camera on for 30 minutes and still won't turn on. Does the red light need to be on till I take it off charger, or is it normal for it to disappear? So when you're charging the battery, usually the orange light that's by where you plug it in indicates that it's charging. Once it's turned off, it's fully charged. And depending on how dead it is, you want to try and keep your battery from going dead completely before charging it. That can deplete the lifetime of the battery. So you definitely want to watch out for that. You definitely want to have it on the charger for probably an hour at least before using it. But if it's dead, it's definitely going to take more than 30 minutes. Let's see here. The red, orange light by where you plug it in means that it is charging. Once it turns off, it should be fully charged. Give it an hour. See if is any more. Depending on how dead the battery was, it could take longer. Okay. We have Aya and for tips and tricks, Fujifilm camera remote app. Can you use the remote app with auto settings, or is it my only option is manual settings? I don't see why you can't use it with auto settings. Shouldn't be an issue. But I know that when I had done that video, Fuji was having a lot of issues with their camera remote app. I don't know where it's at now. I haven't had the chance to test it out again. I'll have to get an update for you guys on that for sure. Auto should be usable. Reply. Okay. Vinny Totowar for the Panasonic FZ80, popular one. Excellent video, simple and crisp. Thanks. It hasn't yet sunk in. It hasn't yet sunk in well. I'll play with the camera and then I'll have doubts and questions. Thanks once again. Totally understand that watching my video isn't gonna be like, wow, I know everything now, and now I can go out and use this to full confidence. It's gonna take time. Sometimes you might have to come back. Sometimes you will have questions. This is just to give you a better understanding and hopefully help you feel a little less intimidated. And thank you for subscribing. We have Alan Warland, 9478, just the samples video, Olympus EM10 Mark IV. Borrowed one of these from a friend and was quite impressed. I have one on its way. Can't wait. Good. Oh, I'm so glad. I love when you can get the chance to play with something before making the purchase. It helps give you a little bit more concrete. And I always tell people, it's like, play with it. If there's any doubt in your mind where you're like, I don't know, like, don't do it. Because if you're not comfortable with it, if you're not comfortable in your hands, where the buttons are, that's not going to grow on you. We'll have to find you another option. Nina B, 9952 for the Panasonic FZ80. Hi, I've been sending images to my phone without issues, but all of a sudden, the most recent photos say cannot be sent over Wi-Fi. Do you know a way around this, please? I'm wondering if you accidentally set them to RAW. That's a possibility, or maybe they're accidental video files. Let's see, has your photo file option or burst mode changed? And it's a year later, so hopefully she's figured it out. But MMA Circle for the Panasonic FZ80. I love you. Oh, thank you. Let's see. Craven Sean, Olympus TG6. I just came back from the camera store and looked up useful videos, and I'm sitting here, new camera in hand, liking the new tool more and more and more, as it clearly explained to me. Thank you so much for this. I can tell you I'll use this as a reference. Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you for watching. I'm glad that it helped support that purchase, that jump that you made, because I know sometimes that can be very stressful. Let's see here. We have Jacob Chiang for the Panasonic LX10. Thanks for this outstanding tutorial. You're welcome. We have, I wonder who else liked this. So for Joseph Schreier, 4581, for vlog number 24, Meandering in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Great video. When you mentioned that you would be taking a 2-mile walk to Como Park, I could tell you were in downtown Minneapolis. I scratched my head and thought, oh well, she is going to find out that that is a lot farther than that. Glad you enjoyed the city. Yep, it was definitely a lot farther than that. I can't even remember. I'm sure it says on the video, because I think I realized halfway there. I was like, yep, this is a much longer walk. And I weighed my backpack when I got home, and it was actually, I was carrying 26 pounds on my back for that walk. And no regrets. My legs hurt. Like, they really hurt. I almost wish that I recorded more, because I found myself making jokes by myself, which I found ridiculous, but I think you guys would have found them funny. But yeah, no regrets. It was a lot of fun. Okay, for Brian 1234 for the top 3 attachments for the Olympus TG6. Another way to turn on the light for the macro attachment is to long press the info button on the TGA5 at any rate. Not sure about the TG6. And let's see, Albins Takeo 5535 did confirm TG6 has the same option. So thank you guys for working together on that and giving some extra info to the viewers that sometimes I miss those, and I'm always really appreciative when you guys can, throw some stuff in as well. So for the Wiccan Warrior 9, Panasonic FZ80. Excellent. You explained the tech stuff so well. Thanks for that. It can be confusing. Your vids are much appreciated. Good. I'm so glad that I could help you, and thank you for subscribing. NCP 1000 for the Nikon P1000 walkthrough. Got 2 thumbs up and a heart. Ah, yes. Thank you. I'm so glad that you found it helpful. Let's see. For Paul Mansfield for the Panasonic G9 walkthrough. I found this useful. I bought a G9 a week ago. I think you could have mentioned how the intelligent ISO blocks program shift. Took me a while to find that out. Good point. Also, silent mode and super high speed burst are electronic shutter, as are the 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, 6K photo mode. Thank you for adding that. I really appreciate it. Looks like he also left another one for the same video. When you're doing rapid panning shots, e.g. motorsports, is a particularly good reason for turning stabilization off. You know, I didn't think about that. But, you know, I would definitely want to see the difference of what stabilization does in that situation. But it's a good thought. Thank you so much, very much, Paul. Really appreciate your notes on that. So we have Deep Aslani 102 for the Nikon Z5 walkthrough. I found your video when I googled how to use the Z5. I've been recommended this camera along with the macro lens. Great video. Great! I hope that you've had a lot of fun with the macro lens, this camera. We have Mimog 8794 for the Panasonic LX100 Mark II. Very helpful. Great! I'm glad I could help. Let's see, Mr. Simon J 1970 for the Nikon 50mm comparison. The new one is awesome, but not more than 2 times better. 95% of the photos will look the same to 95% of people with the old one. Even old manual focus lenses look great on the full frame mirrorless. Nikon haven't made any poor lenses over the years. I'm not going to disagree with you. That's why I want to do these comparisons, because some people think, oh, well, it's got to be drastically better. Well, if you know what you're looking for, you can see a difference. Or you'll see a difference in using it or the comfort of holding it. It's, I think, you know, you're right. In most cases, people will go, that's a nice picture and that's a nice picture. I couldn't tell you which lens did what. I can tell you they both look nice in their own ways and I'm happy with each. So, but that's why I like to do the comparison videos, so you guys can see that. Thank you, Mr. Simon J. John Carpenter, 1053, for the Panasonic FZ300 walkthrough. I just purchased this camera. Great video, thanks. Great, thank you, appreciate it. Kenny Pringle, 4580, for the Nikon D850 walkthrough. You skipped raw, large, medium, small, image size, and saving space on the computer. Don't go any less than large. That's my opinion, and that's here's the I've had so many people that select medium or small to save room on their SD cards so they can take more pictures, or on their computers, which you really should be archiving on a hard drive rather than just on your computer, because it will bog down your computer. There's no doubt about that. But in a lot of cases, if you have it set on those settings, pardon me, and suddenly you've taken this picture and you go, oh my gosh, I love this picture. Take a look at this picture. Oh my gosh, I love that picture. Can I buy it from you? Oh yeah, let me, oh, I want it as a 16 by 20. Not if you took it in small. You took it in small, it's a smaller file. Now you're limited to what you can do with that. Now, if, say this is grandma's camera and she takes a lot of pictures outside and she never prints bigger than an 8x10, maybe a 5x7, the majority are going to be 4x6s. Yeah, I could see how you'd be like, grandma's going to fill up that 16 gigabyte card with all of these pictures of her flowers, and she just wants to keep them on the computer and maybe print a couple of 4x6s, I can see how you'd want to set it down to a smaller size. But if you're taking it in RAW, take it in RAW. If you're taking pictures and you're like, there's a possibility that I might want to do something with these, don't go any smaller than large. That's kind of what I had to say about that. And I won't answer that. I'll answer that for you guys here, but yeah. Let's see, Maurice 8075 for the Panasonic FC80. Hi Heather, just wanted to let you know I have recently purchased the FC80 and found your video very helpful. Thank you. Not overly complicated and easier to understand than most. I think you're very sweet in offering to help out for things that are harder to understand. Unfortunately, I fall into that category, so you may be hearing from me again in the not too distant future. Thanks a lot. And thank you for subscribing, Maurice. I really appreciate you. Let's see. Shurish Gore, 1985 for the Panasonic FC80. The bright spots in the photo show up as dark blinking spots in the preview or while viewing photos. How do I correct this? So this is highlighting those spots that are overexposed. So that would be called, let me see here, Panasonic blinking overexposed. Let's see. There we go. Right, highlight. That's what that is going to be called. So we're going to let them know. This is a setting referred to as highlight to let you know what areas are overexposed. If you go to menu, French with the C, then go to highlight, you can turn it off. Reply. Great. Goodness. All right, so we have Verinder Kumar, YC4JC, Canon M50 Mark II walkthrough. Thanks for describing in detail everything. You're welcome. We have P.E. Tucker 548 for the Panasonic FC300 walkthrough. Excellent tutorial. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. What's the matter, you two? For the Panasonic ZS100. Just watched your video. Very helpful, but my ZS100 bought in November 2022 does not have a RAW setting. Am I missing something, or are you using a ZS200 for demo purposes? Nope, definitely was using the ZS100 because they are different cameras. Very odd. So maybe there's a setting that's keeping them from seeing that. But I would probably refer them to reset the camera and then take another look. Hi there. I was definitely, not defiantly, just I was using, I never spelled definitely, I don't know why. It was using the ZS100, but maybe if you reset your settings, it may become an option. Should should definitely, here I go again. I'm a definitely kind of girl. Should be under the first tab in the menu to select raw. Okay, let's see. Luke 09 for the Canon SX740 walkthrough. Mentioned a specific time during the video, said good demonstration as to why not to use portrait orientation. Interesting. Let's open that up in a new tab and see what he's referring to. Why not use portrait orientation? In this case, instead of using landscape, like, yeah, okay, using portrait to show in a video, yeah, you get these big black bars on the side. No big deal. But also, why stick to every photo being landscape as an example? You know what I mean? It's okay to take pictures in portrait. So, DJ Lou Dog 745 for the LX102. Excellent video. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Let's see. Fish and Musicin for the Tips and Tricks Panasonic 4K Photo Burst. Neat feature. If you delete all the pictures after you save the ones you wanted, will they still be there? Thanks. Yes, if you delete the video file, the pictures you saved from there first will still remain. Yes, if you saved photos and then deleted the video file, the saved ones would remain. Perfect. Bella White 1 for the FC80. Thank you so much for this video. I dug this camera out of my backpack. I only used it once 2 years ago. I'm going to take it out and try and use it to capture some seagulls. People like you make our lives easier. Oh, I hope that you had fun capturing some seagulls. Let's see, Fandango 2022 for the Fujifilm GFX 50S Mark II. Wonderful girl. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. Let's see. Ken Roman 777 for the Canon 90D walkthrough. After 3 years and hardly any use, less than 150 photos, I was thinking I am too old to understand this camera and was thinking of selling it. But I watched this video and you have helped me to learn much more about it. Thank you. Oh, I'm so glad. Too many people get so discouraged in their cameras. And if I helped you turn that around to give it another shot and you're thinking that you might enjoy it a little bit more, oh, that makes my life. And then user bunch of letters and numbers. She's teaching very well. Wish it was more. Well, thank you. Although, like, more in what way? Like, I could do more? Because, like, let me know what I might be able to help you more with, because that would be great. I'm so glad, though. Goodness. Tim Ward, 4952. Panasonic FC80. Hi, what would be the best settings to use to get photos of soaring birds? I've only been using automatic and center focus point, limited success. Thanks. So for the FZ80, for this camera, I would suggest using your shutter speed mode set to, oh hush, like 500th to 1/2000th of a second, or use program mode if that is more comfortable. Set the focus area to zone, and focus to AFC for continuous focus. Hope this helps. There we go. All right, let's see. We have Candy JB13 for the FC80. Thanks so much. I was stuck in the 4K mode and having to get a picture I wanted and then having to delete the video. It will also be much easier to navigate all the different settings in the menus. I also have a Canon camera and zoom lens for birds and other wildlife mostly, but this one will be great for lots of things. The manual that came in with it was not helpful, which is why I make these videos. So I'm really glad that this was able to help you. Right, we have DTP 2 times art, Nikon for the Nikon P950 walkthrough. I shoot on automatic and I'm not ashamed at all. You shouldn't be. I don't care about all those settings. I just want that zoom. Can't afford the P1000, so I'm considering the P950. I do take a lot of lake photography and need that zoom. The reason I talk about all of those settings is just so you know what they are. If not to avoid them, to keep things simple. If you do accidentally access those settings, you then know, oh, that's right, and know how to turn it off. So it's fine if you want to shoot on automatic. That's perfectly fine. If you're happy with how the photos are coming out, great. In some cases, if you're using the camera enough and you're starting to desire certain things out of your photos that maybe you want more control in, that's when you start considering those other settings that are on the camera. But if you're happy with how that's coming out, perfect. That's great. Also, Harrison00XXX responded to that comment saying, for most camera systems, the 150 to 600 Sigma should be existing. Very affordable and so much better than the P950 or P1000, which is just an old smartphone sensor with a super zoom lens glued to it. Harrison, you're not wrong. The sensor on these cameras are, they're small. They're small. There's no doubt about that. And that's the reason it can have such a massive lens on it without needing to, cart around a suitcase. But not a lot of people want to carry around the big 150 to 600 lenses to get a good shot with a crop sensor or a full frame camera, because it's a lot of weight versus they're happy with the point and shoot, lightweight, good enough option. So to his own. Everybody has their own, has their own preference. And that's why these cameras are all made. If there was one good camera for everybody, there wouldn't be all these options and I wouldn't have a YouTube. DMKs for the Tips and Tricks Panasonic's image app. You should pick the ISO that you want and go to manual to lock in your exposure. It is disturbing to your viewer when your camera suddenly changes the exposure, and that kept happening in this video. So, I know that can be frustrating. It's happened in a few videos that it seems to be outstanding for some, where the scene will go from dark to light. The reason that I don't lock in my exposure is because screens on a phone, on the back of a camera, are naturally much brighter than the black bodies of the camera itself, where I have to go over the buttons and whatnot. I do my best. I've done my best moving forward to try and, when I'm going over the buttons, keep it on the button so I don't have it shift from light to dark so often. But when I have to go and look at the screen and we're going over things on the screen itself, I need it to adjust that so you guys can see what's going on the screen versus it just being bright white or the camera being dark black. It's it's something that I could definitely work on. But I do appreciate you guys letting me know what can be worked on. Absolutely. Let's see. John Whelan, 2663 for the Olympus EM10 Mark IV. The missing instruction manual. Many thanks. You're welcome. Happy to help. I think that you had commented previously, Deborah Matthias 3879. I think you commented farther down. You commented on the FC80. Thank you for clear instructions in English. You're welcome. It's the only language I know how to speak right now. Talib 485 for the Olympus TG6 walkthrough. Thank you for this. Very useful. Would you know a way to use the Olympus software on PC? I could only find the app for Android and iOS. Can't find an app software for PC. You know, I don't know if Olympus has something right now. I'm going to have to actually ask the representative that I know, but I will definitely do that. As far as I am aware, I don't believe there are Olympus computer app options, but I will ask my representative. Listen, active. There we go. Like, where did I miss it? It's really Sysis. Nikon Z30 walkthrough. What camera are you using to record this? For the Z30, I think I was using my Sony A7 Mark II. I believe I was using the Sony A7 II for the walkthrough footage, video and photo samples at the beginning are from the Nikon Z30. There we go. Let's see. Tina K 8658 for the Tips and Tricks Panasonic's image app. The image app doesn't seem to be working anymore unless it's just operator error on my part. Let's see. Sorry, it's taken me so long to get back. Hoping the app has fixed its bugs for you. Like, I can't imagine it just stopping working unless she's using the wrong one or there's just an error. Miguel Martinez, HM5 Pix, Panasonic FC300. Nice video. I bought one thanks to your video. Great. Glad I could help make that decision. Help you make that decision, I should say. At 35 Alfie for the Panasonic G7 walkthrough. I don't speak French, so I am going to translate this. We're going to go to translate because I like to see what everybody's saying. Thank you very much for these explanations. It is clear and precise. Oh, great. Even though I don't speak French and I'm speaking English, I'm glad that it still helped you. Like, that is mind-blowing to me. See, JMNH4DH for the Panasonic G9. This is such a great video. I will be watching this over and over. Thanks. Great. Glad I could help. Chris IP4PK for the Canon M50 Mark II. Hi, can I mount this lens camera combination on a tripod with the usual camera thread, or is the or is the nose too heavy as to cause problems? I imagine it should be just fine. Should fit no problem on a regular tripod. Tabletop tripod, maybe some issues. Depending on what lens you're using, of course. That goes for any camera. Right, we have Octavio Duran 8111, Panasonic FZ80. Love your tutorial. I just can use a flash on manual mode on this camera. I just can or can't use a flash on manual mode. I'm not sure what the question is. I'll take the love your tutorial. Thank you. Let's see. Crazy Bingas Beats 1954 for Panasonic G85. Thank you. You're welcome. For Key Life Productions 99.7 for Canon SX740. Hi, my niece is having a problem. It keeps blinking and it won't come on to record. Do you know anything about it? I'm wondering what's blinking. What is blinking exactly? Goodness, what is wrong with my typing? Is my keypad is blinking exactly? Is the camera working normally outside video? Okay. Portzog Love Science for the Panasonic S5 walkthrough says, what is the difference between fine and standard? I'm guessing for the quality of the JPEGs. Let's see. So, I'm trying to think how I would explain that. So fine, I guess, would have, so those would be compression modes for JPEG. Fine compresses less and has a slightly better quality. Those ones are complicated. I wish that they would just, like, that's not always so super cut and dry, but that's as simple as I can put it. IPB Soft for the Panasonic G7. Thanks for the video. Very well explained. Love it. Thank you. Johnny Retro 1975 for the Panasonic FZ1000 Mark II. Thank you so much. I've bought this camera. So really great to watch your video. Great. Thank you. I'm so glad that you liked it. Debbie Wyatt 4847 for my vlog number 24, meandering in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I enjoyed your adventure. Oh, good. Had I known you'd be in town, I would have loved to help you around the Twin Cities. I owe you one for helping guide me through choosing a camera and walking me through its features. Oh, that would have been so awesome. When you said 2 miles to Como Zoo from downtown Minneapolis, I thought, she better take the bus or the rail. She won't make it before dark with that load. Thank goodness I did. You obviously made the best of it. I am glad you enjoyed your visit. The walkways were started in the 60s, so now a person can walk the whole downtown area without going outside. It gets pretty darn cold here in the winter months. Oh, I bet. I actually have some friends that live in Minnesota. They were unable to see me, unfortunately. So sad during the visit, but I'm getting the idea of cold, that's for sure, living here in Alaska. So Oh, and she left another one. P.S. Your photos are really nice. I saw and felt the light from the gorilla and love from the flower. Oh, good. Thank you guys. It helps me to know that, because some of you guys were like, you guys got a vlog, and that you guys actually enjoy some of that. So it makes me happy. E.B. Eveliner for the Sony W830. I wish there was a little more portrait photo. I mean, all the pictures I pretty much took were of some friends that I had around. I was taking their Christmas photos, and I know I kind of like, hey, well, I got you guys. Let me take some pictures with this camera so I can do my walkthrough of it. There's really not like a portrait mode. It's just, so I just took pictures of people. So that's pretty much the extent of how great that camera is. Taylor Lynn 1406 for the Panasonic G85. Oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed by this new camera. You're not alone. But I'm so thankful for this video. I brought it to shoot my son's sports. Do you have any certain ways you'd set up for that? Thank you so much for making this video. I'm curious what sports. So glad I could help. What sports and what time of day? That kind of, it changes everything, just knowing those. So let's see, Hai Ying Lo 9593 for the Tips and Tricks Fujifilm app. The live picture from my X-T5 Live View shooting lags for half a minute. Crazy. I know. The app was really having a bad time. Christina Michelle 8790 said same on the XH2. Virtually worthless feature. I know. I'm really hoping that they fixed it by now. When I talked to Fujifilm last, they said it was something that they were working on, but did not have a turnaround time for that. So, kind of a bummer. Karen Huber, 49.95 for the Olympus EM10 Mark III. Thanks for a great video. I have a question. When I turn the new camera set in P mode on and hit the quick menu button, nothing happens. I don't get a menu on the screen. When I press the menu button on the right side of the screen, it lists camera 1, 2, etc. on the left. Okay. A through I in the next column, AEL, AFL in the third column. There's some basic setting I missed. This camera is an EM10 Mark III S. Huh. Well, first off, thank you for subscribing. You know, I don't think that I ever saw the Mark III S in person, and it may just be because my company decided not to carry it. But that's interesting that the P mode would not, or that the quick menu button would not work in the P mode. So I guess my question would be, does the quick menu button work in any of the other manual modes? Quick menu button work in any of the other manual modes. Very interesting. All right. Video pod for the Panasonic FZ2500 walkthrough. Thank you so much, Shutterbug101. Very good overview of the FZ2500. I learned a great deal. Thank you. Murph. You're welcome, Murph. Happy to help. Let's see. Subject Delta 9 for the Panasonic FZ80. Wow, fantastic presentation and tutorial with clapping hands. Yay! I'm so happy I found your video, as I'm getting one for Christmas and wanted to engage in the learning curve as soon as possible, so I'll be familiar with the camera features by then. Honestly, I'm pretty excited with many features never mentioned in the camera specs, which made me feel I'm getting so much more than I expected. I love photography, but got trapped in the smartphone convenience and now feeling the constraints and limitations of my creativity. Oh, aren't we all? Now I feel I can spread my creative wings and fly high. With so much gratitude and appreciation for the great work you do. Thank you so very much, and thank you for subscribing. subject Delta 9. I hope that you have had an amazing time with your FZ80 and it's really helped your creative wings take flight. Let's see here. We have Christopher for the Gill for the Nikon P950 walkthrough. Having been a Canon fan for most of my life, I severely injured my shoulder and was no longer able to lug the weight of a camera and huge lens. I'm a bird photographer. Oof, that's tough. Anyway, I got to borrow this camera for a month to see if it would suit my needs, and boy, oh boy, did it disappoint not one bit. Okay, so it did not disappoint one bit. Good. I found the pictures were crisp, pin sharp, and the colors were spot on. Do I miss my Canon setup? Not a bit. The movie part I have not used, as I don't shoot movies, so unable to comment. Perfect. 2 of the guys I go birding with have also now traded in their kit and bought this camera. Good. I'm so glad that it's working for you, Christopher. I'm glad that you didn't have to drop your passion specifically because you had an injury. That made me very sad. Harrison also commented, sounds not very realistic, but okay. Okay, no need to be mean. It helped this person continue their passion. They're happy with it. Don't disregard that. I have seen the P1000 in action, and I am disappointed by it completely. It's slow, has bad, heavily pulsing autofocus. The image quality and ISO performance is worse than my Canon 400D. A 12 megapixel beginner APS-C body from like 2009. If the P1000 or P950 creates as good images as your huge lens and camera, you guys had a very old and lower end setup. I don't usually delete comments unless they're inappropriate, hurtful to others, which this seems fairly hurtful. So I'm like, it's not benefiting anyone, to be honest. So unfortunately, Harrison, I'm going to have to remove your comment. I appreciate your opinion. I also didn't find that I was satisfied with the P950. I did share that on the video, but Christopher found it very helpful and his friends found it very helpful. That to me brings me joy that they were still able to share that passion. Whether or not you shared that as well, you can easily just disagree and use your Sigma 150 to 600 lens. I got a Tamron myself. So anyway, yes, to his own. Esonia Maria 8844 for the Nikon B600 walkthrough. Congrats on your video. Need help. How to access different folders on SD whilst on camera. Ooh. On the B600. Let's take a look. Because that's a tough one. Let's see, B600 should be down here. Yep. So let's take a look at the menu here. Menu. Okay, let that go. So I imagine should be in settings. Come on.
Setup menu?
No. Okay, so let's see. Time zone. Nope. Help display, review. Brightness. Might be a little bit more difficult in this camera. Sound, format, language. Nope. Nope. Huh. This camera is extremely simple, so it may not even give that option. Usually on other Nikon cameras, there is a playback menu to access the folders, but I don't believe this camera gives the option as it is built for simplicity. I believe you can only access other folders on the computer. All right. Stephen Kemp, 6870 for the Panasonic FZ1000 Mark II. Clear and concise, great video, thanks. You're welcome. 98 Rollins for the Panasonic FZ80. I subscribed because I love your energy, but it looks like you unsubscribed. Did my energy not carry over? It makes me sad. I'm going to like it anyway because I appreciate that you love my energy. And you don't have to subscribe. It, you know, that's to his own. Again, it's totally fine. Jeffrey Rufus Frampton, 9964. I love your name. It's very fancy. Nikon P1000. As a complete beginner, thank you for this highly informative and I don't know fancy words sometimes. Presentation. I assume that is a good word. Let's look it up. I'm curious. Let's see. Meaning, especially if something written or spoken briefly and clearly. Short, concise expression. Without wasted words. Oh, well, that's good. Good. I'm glad I could help. Thank you. Thank you for teaching me a new word. Let's see. Robert McGrath, 4584 for the Panasonic FZ80. Thank you for clearing most helpful guide. Great. Thank you. Ken Ryzen Weber, 4517 for the Panasonic FZ80. We have a new DC FZ80, first time for anything beyond iPhone. I have tried to set the self-timer, but when I press the shutter, it doesn't wait 10 seconds. Any suggestions? I would make sure that you highlight it and set it with the set button, and hopefully that turns it on. When you access the timer options, you should be able to select option with a 10 and set it with the middle set button. Hope this helps. Right, reply. Right, Netsajapat for the Panasonic FZ1000 Mark II. Thank you so much. You're welcome. A Tone Spot production for the Panasonic G7 said, "Hi, my name is Tone. I have been having my G7 for 5 years now. I use it about 3 times a month. Pretty good average. Just recently, I did something that makes the shutter and aperture knobs not work, but turn and nothing happens, like when it turns the video darker. I tried to reset, but it's the same. Please help. No YouTube video showing my problem. I know it's probably something simple like the click of a button." Interesting. So shutter and aperture knobs not working. I'm wondering what mode it's stuck in. Does it show what mode it is? Oh no, the shutter and aperture knobs, the adjustment knobs. Which mode are you in? Hope to help if you haven't found a solution. All right, let's see. Priya Jesse for the Sony W830 walkthrough. Which mob or cam did you use for filming this particular video? That would be the Sony A7 II to record the walkthrough. Perfect. Diana SM6VR for the Panasonic FZ80. My brother, not in town, did some preliminary settings on my new camera. Because I often take scenery photos, he set something so that when I turn the camera on, it is already partially zoomed. I am unable to figure out how to get a picture of my family room. What has he turned on and how do I turn it off? Help. So let's see, I believe that there is a setting in Panasonic where you can save it to zoom to a specific spot whenever you turn it on. So let me see, Panasonic save zoom settings. Save zoom position, that's what I want to look up. Save zoom position starting. Don't want fast zoom. Save zoom position. Lens position resume. Okay, so aha. Go to menu. Wrench with the C. Go to circle with a dot symbol. Lens position resume. Should take care of this. At least I believe so. Okay, Elliot Gymnastic 5152, Panasonic S5. Thanks so much, super helpful. Most videos I see prior assumed I knew more than I did to start. That's why I do these. Happy to help. This is Michael. Hi there. Panasonic ZS100. Hi Heather, thanks a lot for this video. It helped me a lot. Learning to understand my new TZ100, which is another name for it, just in a different country. Do you have any idea why my camera does not have the one color mode like you showed in your video? But then he commented, figured it out. The one color mode isn't available when this camera is in 4K photo mode. There you go, perfect. Glad you were able to figure out the problem. Deadwood 1887 for the Panasonic LX100 Mark II. Good walkthrough. Thanks. You're welcome. Let's see. Tess Koffler 8026 for the Tips and Tricks Panasonic 4K Photo Burst. Can you help me troubleshoot syncing my camera with my iPhone? I keep trying, it's not working. Yep, so let me go ahead. I'm going to bring up the Panasonic app video so she can use that directly. Let's see. Oh, that's actually should be up here, I imagine. Nope. So phone, and blue. There we go. I love it when I color code things. Share, copy, and reply. You may need to uninstall and reinstall, but here is my walkthrough connecting with the app. Perfect. All right. Ken and Mal for the Nikon Z5 walkthrough. It's Z, not Z. You're not the first person to say it. So out of the United States, for the most part, people refer to Nikon. Actually, no, it's the first time I've heard people refer to the Z as Z, not Z. But usually the complaint is it's Nikon, not Nikon, here in America, and even in, I think, Japan, they refer it to Nikon, not Nikon. But instead of Z, yeah, no, in America it is Z, the Nikon Z. And then Mao59 also commented, said, no, it's Z here in America. So it's, it's different everywhere. It's very interesting how that all works. I'm going to like those. Kevreo 12 for the Canon SX740. Is it worth it at the end of 2022 for pictures and vlogs? Yeah. If you're looking for a camera that's going to be better than your iPhone, where it gives you, just it's simple, easy to use, pocket friendly, has 4K video, has the flip up screen, I think it's worth it. Even in 2022, even in 2024. I think it would be worth it as long as you're not looking for anything fancier than that. But no, yeah, I would say so. I think it's a good camera. I would say so. It still has a place in 2024. Hi, Hattie.
Hello. If you're gonna keep going, that's fine, but you need to do it with food.
Oh, I have to eat too
It's
to survive. Is that what they say? You can just put it on the floor. It's fine. Thank you. I have these cards on my desk. I'm selling my work and whatnot, so it's kind of a mess back here. Say hi, honey.
Hi, honey.
No, you can't have lasagna. So, I guess I gotta eat too. I'm doing this all the way through. You guys are probably going to cheat and click your way through this. The majority of you aren't even gonna watch this. So I'm keeping up my end of the bargain and at least doing stuff for YouTube. I'll get you guys videos soon. Much more interesting than going over comments and questions. But yes. Okay. We have 2Ace Canon PowerShot G7X Mark III. Put in a timestamp and was saying I was trying to charge camera off a USB-C but doesn't work. Looked it up. Google is saying it's going to USB-B. Huh. Let's take a look.
So it is going to give you a faster transfer?
So, yeah, no, I guess, It looks like it should be used to charge the battery, but I think it is just used to transfer at that point. I don't think you can charge the battery in camera with this model. So that is something to keep in mind. I believe there is a chance it is just for transfer and firmware update, unfortunately. Right. Paul Davies 5144 for the tips and tricks Panasonic post focus mode. Thought I did that one. Very useful. Did not know how to turn off post-focus mode after accidentally switching camera on. Now problem is solved. DMC LX15 could not find in menu, so reset. Thanks. Great. So even if you didn't want to learn how to use it, it's great to know it exists so you can turn it off. That's for sure. San Jose Chinese Dance Group 3380 for the Panasonic LX10. Best tutorial I have ever seen. Very clear, intelligent, and concise. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Glad I could help. Jan Willemris 8981 for the LX10. Thank you so much for your very clear walkthrough. It saved me a lot of dreadful time going through the paper manual. And you subscribed. Thank you. I appreciate it. IP Star for the Canon PowerShot G7X Mark III. Are there issues with the autofocus on G7X Mark III? Not really. Not that I noticed. Not that I noticed outright, but could possibly struggle in low light or lack of detailed areas. MSOB 6362 for the Ricoh WG80. Thank you for all the detailed info. I was about to give up and return it. You know, I found that the Ricoh wasn't as intuitive as the Olympus TG was, but it is comparable. It just takes a minute to find your way around. So I'm glad I could help. Poppet 011, Panasonic FZ1000 Mark II. Just bought this camera and this video has been very helpful. Thanks so much. Great. I'm glad I could be of help. Knight 1968 for the RX10 Mark IV. Nikon P1000 is better. I would have to disagree with you. I like the Sony better than I did the P1000. But again, to his own, right? Everybody has their own opinion. You know, and it doesn't hurt anybody. So, everyone has their own preference. Glad you find joy out of the P1000. Mary Riddles 5072 Panasonic FZ80. How do I know if I have the autofocus auto exposure lock on? It doesn't necessarily confirm you. It's kind of like I hold the button and it's locked. As long as you're holding the button, it is locked. There we go. All right. Oh boy. Oh boy. Hold on. I see a debate. Hopefully it's friendly here for the Nikon P1000 because Harrison decided to comment. Something to consider if you're interested in the P1000. Harrison, before I even get to reading this, are you here just to hurt people? I am not a fan of the P1000. I'd rather use another camera for the majority of things that I like to photograph. But there are people that find joy out of the P1000. Therefore, I did a walkthrough to show what it can do. But let's see what you have to say. It has just a smartphone size sensor, slightly bigger. The lens is a 4.3 to 540 millimeter f2.8 to 8 resulting in a 3000 millimeter image looking like a 3000 millimeter f44. F44. Same goes for the 24 millimeter. They look like 2.8 to 5.5 equals 24 millimeter f16. It's huge and heavy. To be honest, even my 100 to 400 telezoom is barely heavier or bigger, depending. Yes, I will say that the 100 to 400 can be more comfortable and more well balanced than the P1000 zoomed all the way out. But the P1000 zoomed all the way out is also what, like 3000 millimeters? So equivalent. Very special camera for very special use cases, and definitely not if you want good quality images. Fair. And no, I don't talk about prints. Even for basic viewing on a screen or TV, they look pretty bad, just older smartphone like. I will say that in quality, especially at night, it is fairly grainy just due to that sensor size, but that's just me. There's 17 replies to his comment. I would always prefer the P950 over the P1000. I disagree. No, which one did I use? No, I actually liked the P1000 over the P950, but I also used the P1000 mainly in the daytime versus P950 at night. I thought it did fairly well. Smaller, cheaper, newer. If you have ever used the 1000 millimeter plus, you will know anyways more than 1000 millimeters is more often than not necessary and stupid. Well, stupid's not a nice word. Caselli1337 had mentioned P950 is not better in any way than the P1000. It was made to put older P900 in the level of P1000. P900 and P950 use the exact same lens, processor, etc. P950 has same worst possible image quality as the P1000. Yeah, like ratings say in their review, forget P950, go big or go home. Also, if you don't need 1000 millimeters, get the superior Sony RX10 Mark IV or 3 and crop to better or same image quality below 1000 millimeters. Also, one well-known YouTuber who compared uses P950, P1000 said they look mostly identical at 2000 millimeters. P1000 can, of course, go more than that, but the IQ suffers a little bit. It's still better than cropping P950. He also says that at all focal lengths, P1000 is slightly better colors, contrast, bokeh. Goodness. The size of the sensor works with the large lens. I have zero issues with the photo quality. Another thing to add, a smartphone does not have this massive lens. People buy the P1000 for the 3000 millimeter zoom. Good that I have experience with basically anything. Well, now you're just being braggy. I have some examples of the moon with this setup uploaded. P1000 is still an excellent super zoom camera. I don't disagree. Do you have any clue of how a highly complex optically super zoom lens works? Goodness, trust me, you can definitely spot a difference between anything proper. Goodness gracious. Like, it just never ends. I think I'm gonna just, I don't know, should I leave it up? Like, there's 17 replies. I'm not gonna touch it. I'm not gonna touch it. Oh, but he commented on another video, the Just the Samples Olympus EM10 Mark IV video. The autofocus hurts in video. That's why I got a Canon instead. They got autofocus and tracking at least somewhat right. Well, yeah, but I also wouldn't use Olympus for video necessarily. I'd use Panasonic for video over Olympus. Olympus definitely excels more in their photos. I will agree on that. Harry Crokidas 4681 for the FC80. Thank you, Heather. I have a question that hopefully you can help me with. I take videos mainly of entertainers, but find the zoom way too fast. Is there a way to slow down the zoom considerably? My wife performs in concert in Vegas. Oh, that's cool. And the fast zoom makes the video look unprofessional. I tried to slow it down by using the lever to reduce the speed, but I would like to zoom very slowly, consistently. Is this possible? Let's see. For the FZ80, the FZ80 is made to be, you know, a hobbyist camera. It's not exactly a professional camera, so that is a little tough. Zoom speed. Let's see here. Zoom speed adjustment. Yeah, I don't think so. Oh no, maybe there is zoom speed. Zoom lever. Oh yeah, no, it's just how you turn it. So unfortunately, no. Hi there. Unfortunately. Doesn't look you can set a zoom speed. It's just how you hit the trigger. On the outside the camera. I'm so bummed when there's not like a for sure answer with the camera that they have. Susan Playpeak 9309. Panasonic CS80. How can I get the exposure meter to show in the monitor? I can't see it in any of the exposure modes, MSAP. I have Expo turned on. I can't see meter. Good overview video. Thank you. Oh, well, you just have to hit your display button. If you hit your DISP button, you should get a variety of viewing options on the monitor. Perfect. Let's see, Cynthia Dezeal 2413 for the FZ80. Very helpful video. Thank you. You're welcome. Tomo 1588 for Olympus EM10 Mark III. How long does the battery last for shooting and video? For the EM10 Mark III, it varies depending if you do more photo or video or the temperature. Of where you're shooting could last anywhere from an hour to a few hours. And it's true, you know, a place too hot, a place too cold, if you're doing more video, if you're doing more pictures, if you're trying to get off in between, it all just kind of varies. A Meadow Shashawi 852 for the Olympus TG6. Tell me, sister, I have an issue with custom modes. If I finish setting in C1, for example, it's not saved when I turn camera to other mode and then come back again to C mode. I lose my previous settings. Please tell me how to save my settings. Custom modes. If I finish setting in C1, for example, It's not saved when I turn camera to other mode. That's interesting. My question is, are you going through the menu to set your C mode options? Right. Harman Tatala, 18, Canon T8i walkthrough. What can I use to shoot product photography? And camera settings, please. Well, again, there's not one setting. So, what kind of product and what kind of lighting? Background. It all tends to vary on those details. Sharpener 445 for the ZS80. More good useful info than I got anywhere else. I would like to see pit cropping on camera reviewed. Thanks so much. Cropping, huh? Like, how far? Like, just regular cropping? Like, I'd love to know more, like, details on what you would like to see when it comes to cropping on an image on this camera. Panasonic FZ300, David XL9CP had to say a very good quick overview of all the options, which is far easier than going through the manual. Many thanks. You're welcome. Stephen Grabowski, 2756 for the Olympus TG6 said, when in video mode, if you zoom in or out, it is very noisy. For the TG6, huh? I mean, it is all internal, but you shouldn't be able to hear it in your video. It shouldn't pick up in the video recording. But you may hear it when in use. It doesn't have a very big zoom either, so that's odd. Sad Muffin 85 for the ZS80 says things in Spanish, it looks like. So let's see here. It looks like she just kind of broke down what the mode dial says, but let's go ahead and take a look. Yep, AI automatic and the camera does everything. P, more manual mode. There are videos. Well, AI can do video as well. A, aperture, light grabbing aperture controls, how much light depth. S, captures movement. Yep, and for full manual, movie, for cuter videos. C, for customary way, like studio. Yep. And scene, very similar to auto, but choose the type of photo I want. Exactly. Nailed it down. Absolutely. You were right on the button, Sad Muffin. Krubnik for the Nikon Z5 said, thanks for the walkthrough. Just got my Z5. You mentioned you like to do your editing on a big screen. What software do you use? Does Nikon have one available to its users? Thanks. They actually do. Nikon actually does have software. Nikon does have their own software. But I love to use Adobe myself. I'm a big Adobe fan. Let's see. Oso Nikashi, 5381. Another one for vlog number 24, meandering in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Are you still affiliated with the retail store in PH? No, I am not. When I left to Alaska, unfortunately, I did leave the business, but I still have people that I love very much over there, and they're doing well. So I have moved. So unfortunate. Had to leave the company, but still have good family. Are doing well. Just contacted them yesterday, actually. Toha 127, Canon M50 Mark II says, what is the practical shot capacity of a fully charged battery? Again, it is all very, it varies from the temperature outside to if you're doing long exposures to all of that. It can vary depending on temperature to what you're photographing, but usually anywhere from a couple hours to several hours, especially if you're not doing video. So let's see. Patrice Williams 1 for the Panasonic G7 said, thank you so much. I just got this camera for Christmas. My husband got me. It was so frustrating trying to figure out how to use this thing. Whew, so helpful. Oh, I'm so glad. Hopefully you've gotten some good use out of it this last year. It looks like she's commented a couple times. How do I reset everything? Because I don't know how to get this blurry look off my camera. Also, I want to take pictures of my jewelry. What mode do I use with my light box? Okay, so how do I reset everything? So if you go to menu, wrench, reset, you can reset to factory settings. Perfect. And if she wants to take pictures of her jewelry with her light box, I would use your aperture mode and use a steady yourself. Set the focus area to center and focus mode to AFS. Perfect. Trestles Newport HB for the FC80. Thank you for your thorough and detailed product explanation. You're welcome. Christopher Deere 7417 for the FC80 says this camera necklace is such a sleigh, to be honest. Thank you. I appreciate it. I have a couple jewelry, camera themed pieces of jewelry that people have gifted me over the years, which has been really cool. I like them, so thank you. I'm actually gonna heart that one. Thanks. Sweet Vicas 27 on my video of the differences between DSLR and mirrorless cameras. That was one of my first videos, actually. So it's so difficult to point out the difference. It truly is. After spending 9 years with the Nikon D7000, switched to the Fujifilm X Pro 3. Hope to have an exciting journey with the mirrorless as well. I hope so too, and thank you for subscribing. We have Steve Saunders 7806 for the FC80. Just subscribed. So helpful. Thank you. And I see you're still subscribed. So thank you. Smooth 11 10 12 for the Sony RX10 Mark IV. I have this camera. I find it okay at night street photography. Sometimes it will hunt for focus. I tested a Ricoh GR3X recently. Had a larger sensor, however, the shots were crap. Hardly focus in with that camera. Yeah, you know, I have to agree. I had a little bit of difficulty with some of those night shots with the Sony RX10. But overall, it's a good camera. FYN SSP. Thank you for this tutorial. Been looking for videos that showed how to transfer RAW files, and you did. Thank you. And that was with the Nikon SnapBridge app. Glad I could help. Northern Man 932 for the Nikon SnapBridge app. Quite possibly the worst camera app I've ever used. Became so frustrated with it, I almost broke my P1000. The apps in general can be very frustrating, which is why I made these videos. So sad. Smooth 11 10 12 again, edited on the same Sony RX10 Mark IV video. Well done. This is the only video I found that goes to such detail in all settings. Thank you. Well, great. I mean, you clearly had spent some time looking for other videos too, because those are spaced apart. So thank you for coming back and commenting. Leon Dengestelin 1157 on the Panasonic S5. Super clear. Thank you. You're welcome. Christopher Today. How about Christopher 1 year ago? Olympus EM10 Mark IV. I just got one of these as a very nice Christmas present, and your video is a wonderful introduction to the camera. There's just so many menu options, and using this and your other setting-specific guides will certainly be more enjoyable than reading the rather terse documentation. Agreed. Though even if the factory instructions were superb, seeing it in video form is still my preferred way to learn. I simply can't decide between a 35 or a 50 lens as my first prime, but went for the 35 since I'll mostly be taking so-called street-style photos. Then yeah, I would agree on that. And travel photos with lots of them in lower light. I also picked up the 12 to 40 f2.8 because I thought having this range of focal lengths available would be great for learning which ones I prefer in practice, not theory, before buying more expensive primes which I may never use. Oh, my camera was just the body, so no zoom kit lens. Okay, fair enough. And that 12 to 40 lens is great. Based on my research and my very unprofessional opinion, I think this camera may be the ideal jumping off point for beginners, even if they move off the Micro Four Thirds format in the future. I'm amazed how little difference there is between the M10 and the Olympus's professional cameras. Very true. The only missing feature I really wish it had was weather sealing. Thank you again for the great overviews and saving me tons of time, Christopher. Oh, well, thank you, Christopher. I'm really glad that I could be helpful, and I hope that you're enjoying your last year's Christmas present. Get some soda here. I have the best husband ever. Joan Terrell Pizarro on the Nikon Z30. Good video. I'm interested in the Lumix GX9, but I've discovered the Nikon Z30. I really like photography and video. If you could give me your opinion if it would be better for photography and video regards. It's tough. I would say if you think low light is something you want to be better prepared for, I would go with Nikon. Just for the sensor size difference. Lee Mansfield on the Nikon P1000. Just bought the P1000 in full manual mode using LED screen, not viewfinder. When I adjust the aperture or shutter speed, there is no change on the display, although M exposure preview is on. Is there a way to see if you have the right exposure before taking a photo? So these are point and shoots. They're not designed to be like mirrorless cameras, which have a better accuracy in showing you those changes when you make them live. So I would say, unfortunately, not so much. On these cameras, they lack that accurate representation, unfortunately. Okay, let's see. Peter Osenton, 8018, for the Canon SX70. Very nice video. Thanks for helping me with some of the features. I know you said something about leaving something off so your photos aren't blurry, but I don't recall what that was. I'm having some blurry photos and would like to correct. Please advise and thanks. That would be the stabilization if it's on a tripod. So that would be stabilization if it is on a tripod. Turn it off. Handheld, turn it on. Hope this helps. Okay. We have Chris Tro, Panasonic ZS100. Please explain how to adjust aperture and shutter speed, etc. in manual mode. Thanks. It's tough because the ZS100 is still limited because it is a point and shoot, and it has does it have one or two adjustment knobs? Let's see. I believe because there is a ring. So in manual mode, you are still limited to settings, but to change A or S, you can do it by touch screen or by the wheel on top and around the directional pad. Right, Spud was for the Panasonic G9. Thanks, I agree with Jean Mayosit down below. Now you're gonna make me go on hunt. Jean Mayosit. Who was Jean Mayosit? Jean. Like, that must have been a while. Because, like, I don't even remember saying that name. Well, I hope it was a good one. There we go. Anne Flores. Oh, you stop. Oh, stop. You're not getting food. It's like you're not even eating it, Mom. Anne Flores 9193 for the tips and tricks Panasonic's image app. Thank you for your videos. That really helped. Can you please do a video with the FC80? Because the first time I was connected, it was fine, but couldn't save the pictures through my phone. And today I'm trying to do it again. I think I messed up real bad. Ooh, keep forgetting my microphone's there. Have you tried to uninstall and reinstall? What issue is it giving specifically? Go ahead and see that. Okay. Right. Nassau Street 2983 for the Panasonic G85 says thank you. You're welcome. Lady Moan 143 for the Canon's Camera Connect app. Hello, does your live remote screen on your device iPhone, iPad dim, the screen is about to lock while in use. Is there a way to stop it? That would be the settings on your device. You would have to change the settings on your device. Perfect. That one's easy. New tuber for Freedom 43, Panasonic G9. Wow, just found this vid and you. Thank you. I went from a 2010 Panasonic Lumix DMC FZ35 bridge camera, so like the FZ80, just a much older model, in 2010 to 2017 G9 in 2020. And it's been overwhelming and intimidating, absolutely. I sincerely appreciate the time you put into the creation of this most helpful video. People and concerts are not my genre, so I need some help if you can. Of the lenses listed below, flash and tripod not allowed, what do you recommend for a seated musician? Lit by spotlights, white then blue, then white in the crowd. Small venue, very dark, will probably be in the back 30 to 40 feet away, maybe closer if I can get better tickets. So they're looking at the, let's see, 14 to 140, 12 to 60. Let me pull these up specifically. So, right, so there's the 12 to 60, that's the 3.5 to 5.6. Probably not. We want something that's at least a 2.8 for concerts. See, with the, depending on the lighting, you want to be prepared for that, those deep shadows. Let's see, we have 14 to 140. And then this one, which looks like this is a flash, not a lens, but I could be wrong. Oh no, that's the 42.5. I'd almost say the 42.5, but I'm thinking Panasonic. I'm thinking the 35 to 100. I think that would probably be the best option if I'm gonna be totally, because that 35 is gonna be a 70. It's a 70 to 200, essentially. I feel like that would probably be the best. So let's see. Hi there. Sorry. It has taken me so long to get to you. I would recommend, out of those three, first the 42.5, then the 12 to 60. Avoid the other one, but your real winner would be if you could get the 35 to 100 millimeter. Hope this helps. Right, HDEC 8511 for the Panasonic G7. Hi, can you tell me how to put on electric shutter versus mechanical? Because one time it was on electric and I have no idea how I turn it on, so I reset my camera. It's gonna be in your menu. So in your first tab, make sure your camera is on a manual mode, not auto. You should see options for your shutter choice. All right, and then we have Andre Ignacio, Tips and Tricks Olympus Image Share app. Hi, do you know why RAW pics are not showing on the app? That's because phones typically can't transfer RAW. So, phones will typically only allow JPEG transfers. There we go. Joaquin Trigaros for the top 3 attachments for the Olympus TG6. Also consider a Lume Cube for lighting. That's always an option. That's for any camera. My M Bar for the Olympus EM10 Mark IV. Great video, especially for newbies like me. Thanks so much for a great video. I could not find a manual for this camera, so your videos became my best friend. Oh, thanks again for a job well done. You're welcome. See here, happy and joyous and free. Oh, that's a good one. I like that one. Panasonic FZ80. Just got this camera. I can't thank you enough for the simplified walkthrough. You're welcome, and thank you for subscribing. We have Nellie Haynes, who commented on the FC1000 Mark II. Good video. I do have one question, though. I may have missed it, but does this camera feature auto exposure bracketing? It does. It's in the menu. It does. You can find it while in a manual, or actually while in aperture mode and in the first tab in the menu. Perfect. Rolf U3 Elk. Panasonic FC1000 Mark II. Thanks so much for all the information. I wish you a happy and healthy new year. And even though that was for last year, thank you. I appreciate it. Red Mill 1000 for the Panasonic G85. Thank you so much for making the tutorial. I'm struggling with exporting the photos through Wi-Fi onto an iPad. Do you have any insight? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share that video because I believe it's actually the same one that I just shared, but just in case. So I give her something accurate. Try uninstalling and reinstalling following these steps. Hope it helps. Perfect. Fine. All right. Red Mill 1000, which I think they commented not too long ago down here somewhere. It sounds familiar. I feel like I just said it. On the Panasonic G85, thank you so much for making the tutorial. I'm struggling. Oh gosh, no, I put us on the wrong thing. Okay, delete. There we go. Okay, reply. Installing and try reinstalling the app following these steps. Hope it helps. Why it sound familiar? Goodness. Right, reply. Francis Cospito, 2579. A Sony RX100. Thank you so much for the super explanation. Very clear. Good. I'm so glad. You're welcome. Liza Martin, 4655 on the Nikon P950. Between the Nikon P950 and Canon SX70, in your opinion, which would be the best buy and why? And someone had actually posted a comment, bus of Maturitas 8306, depends on what you want to shoot. P950 has longer coverage, but note that further objects may appear hazy due to dust and water vapor in the air. Absolutely. see. My first question would be, what do you want to photograph? That's always kind of the first question. Not a ninja. I don't believe you. 5621 for the Fujifilm X-P140. Why is the video way too bright and washed out? And why can't I find anything to adjust it? I'll try resetting your settings, maybe. Something's going on. Try resetting your settings. And if that doesn't fix it, see about taking it to a camera store. Because there might be something wrong with the sensor. Right. Paul Furr, 5258 for the Olympus EM10 Mark III. Wonderful, thanks. Awesome, you're welcome. Furman Carmarina 4341 for Tips and Tricks Panasonic's Image app. Hello Heather, will this app work if I put it on Intelligent Auto because of my disability? Thanks. Well, even if you didn't have a disability, I imagine it would still work if you had it on Intelligent Auto. Yep. I imagine so. Shouldn't be an issue. I eat mothers for dinner. I will make sure to keep my mother far away from you. Fujifilm X Pro 3. Goodness, this camera 3 days ago couldn't move the inner dial on top for the life of goodness until I watched your video. I'm relatively new to shooting digitally, but have shot with my Contax and Yashica T4 for years. Classic point and shoot film cameras. Gonna take me a while to get used to this, but exciting it is. Shooting everything on automatic at this point. Nothing wrong with that. Do you have any tips for shooting in low light settings since there's no flash? Thanks for the video. Let's see. Finding a lens with a good open aperture and minding your ISO is always key. Have fun. Perfect. Okay. Granville Harlow for the Canon G7X Mark III. An excellent introduction tutorial for this camera. I just bought one, and this overview really helped me navigate the menu and controls. Nice job. Awesome. Happy to help. Pam Owen, 3670 for the Panasonic TS7. Can you upload the videos to your laptop? Absolutely. I don't see why not. Absolutely. I would use a SD card reader, and as long as your laptop has a USB port, should work just fine. Perfect. Juliet Collins, 8892 for the Olympus EM1 Mark III. Brilliant, Heather, thank you. You're welcome. Tong Joel, 2121 for the G7X Mark III. Your video is absolutely useful for a new user. Thank you for sharing every bit detail of this camera. Keep up the good work. And thank you for subscribing. Let's see. Kariki NE6EB. No, quit crying. You're not getting the food. On the Panasonic LX10, I just want to know if the name of the music on the beginning. Anybody please tell and how I get it. See, you can actually find that in the details. Let's see here, music credit is in the details of the video. See, Werner Sievers 3153 on the Sony WX350. Let's see, this looks like possibly German, so let's see what they have to say. Do not let the flap on the battery compartment pop open. You have to open it gently. Okay, I apologize if I opened it a little bit too aggressively for you. Been working with cameras for quite many years. These are not my cameras, so therefore I would never treat them in any way that I would need to purchase these. So just know if I'm opening them in a certain way, it's with the proper amount of force or care. But I appreciate your concern. Liam Morgan 2408 for the Nikon P950. I recently purchased my P950 and can't wait to use it while on holiday next week. One thing I wish Nikon did was to give the user an option to tie the lens cap to a cable attached to the camera. My old Coolpix had that option, but this one does not. Well, the good thing is that you can always buy a cap that has that option. So I know that ProMaster does. Let's see here. While Nikon didn't provide that option with their own cap, you could buy a ProMaster cap that has the holes ready for a tether, which is nice. Just need the size, which should be listed on the back of your Nikon cap. You can always get one, so that's always a good thing. Jaloy Bautista 8667 for the Olympus EM5 Mark III. Thank you. This video is a blessing. Good. I'm glad that it could be. Boy Antrofnov. Yep. Panasonic S5. Thank you for this video. It had just enough information for me to actually feel comfortable with the camera. I still have lots to learn, but I'm not looking at it like alien technology now. I can now go and start using it and learn as I go. Good. I'm so glad. So glad to hear that. ItMZ 2032 ZS80. Not only was this the most in-depth and informative tutorial I've watched, I just noticed you did the whole thing holding the camera upside down. Great video. Absolutely. Yep, definitely have some skills there. Hannah Hackroyd 2384 on the FZ300. Hi, my favorite mode is using high dynamic. But now all of a sudden when I go to take a photo, it sounds like it's taking two photos and the photo ends up blurry. I'm not sure how to fix this. I'm hoping you can help. It's driving me crazy. Let's see. Check to see if your post focus mode accidentally got turned on. Sounds like that may be the issue. Bill Graben 3420 for the Panasonic ZS80. Hi, I have the ZS80D. What's the difference between the ZS80 and the ZS80D? I haven't been able to find an answer to that. Thank you. I actually think that was just the newer model with a slightly bigger viewfinder, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Nothing different in software or features really. Just an updated version. I think a viewfinder. Traced Woods 8827 on the Olympus TG6. Great tutorial. I keep coming back to it. I love my TG6. Good. I'm so glad. Matt Buga 9058 Nikon P950. When are you going to test the video possibilities? Do you have Instagram? I think I did. I did test the video capabilities. The video testing is at the beginning of this video with the photo samples. I do have an Instagram. Just so you guys know, I do have an Instagram. I've recently connected it to my YouTube because along with posting these videos, I'm also open to kind of hire in a way of doing one-on-one tutorials for you guys that have these questions that have kind of built up over the last year that haven't been answered versus like I have all these questions and I know I'm going to have questions as you do the walkthrough, then you can let me know. And I'm available to do that online. And then I'm also like, I'm available to help you archive your photos and organize your desktop and your computer and stuff like that. I've been doing that now for, the last year or so. And I really wanted to kind of push that out, which is really good. So I'm going to include that on here. That's going to be click, snap, flash, tutorials. Oh, did I spell it? I'm telling you guys, I can't edit. Click, snap, flash, tutorials. There we go. Right, Sunstepa for the Canon G7 Mark III. This review is a waste of time. I'd love for you to tell me how, like, why didn't you find it helpful? What would you, find it helpful? So due to the lack of constructiveness to that, I'm just going to remove it because it's just negative. Beauty Rich 2354. Nikon SnapBridge app. Thank you for this video because I have a new Nikon and I watched this and helped me much to connect my phone. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Happy to help. Glad it wasn't useless or a waste of time. Panasonic FZ1000 Mark II. Thanks, just bought the camera and this presentation answered a lot of questions. Good. So glad. Let's see here. I am Gina W. Tips and Tricks Fujifilm camera remote app. This app is terrible. I know, they were still fixing it. I'm hoping it's gotten better by now. Goodness. Jace, I might keel over before I even get to not to where it says 1 year. I might have to break this into 2 lives because I think I've been here for a couple hours already doing this. My gosh. Jace 22 AU for the Sony RX10 Mark IV. Great walkthrough as this camera is jam-packed with features and you touched on a little bit of everything without getting too technical. Good. I'm glad you found it helpful. Harmo 9492 for the Sony RX10 Mark IV. I don't read French, but I can read that, and it says, in French! I don't know how to speak that! Sorry! I'll try and take the time to learn all these different languages, and then I'll just remake these videos and do that. Sony RX10 Mark IV. Angus McKinnon, 2989, says, very helpful video. Thanks for posting. You're welcome. Rafael Moriana, 1113, for the tips and tricks Panasonic 4K Photo Burst. Is it possible to use a flash for this mode? It is not, because it's basically taking a video. It is not possible to use flash, as it is basically taking a video. You would want to use external lighting, like a Lume Cube or a Lightrotorch. Right, the Skeet Zone 3923 for the Nikon D5600 walkthrough. D5600 still great in 2023. Hey, it's still great in 2024. So there you go. Perfect. Mr. Tambourine Man 6107 for the ZS80. You have a really beautiful voice. I'm listening to it in bed awake, but laying down with my eyes closed. It is super relaxing. I'm getting goosebumps too. I could do ASMR. It's official. Although I've also had people report and say, wow, your voice is really annoying. So for some people, it's relaxing. I'm so glad I can be your relaxing voice discussing cameras. So thank you. Freeport 36, Panasonic G7. I was fully immersed until you used the phrase kinda several times in a very short time frame. Sorry. That phrase has no place in training or introduction videos. Trying to keep it casual, and it's better than or which I still catch myself doing. I'm not perfect. I'm a human. The button does not kinda do. The button does. You don't kinda do something, you do it. I did resume the guide as it was very informative. I'm glad that you found it informative. I will do my best to kinda not use kinda anymore. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. Let's see here. SJ Media official for the Sony, see, I'm still using for the Sony 200 to 600 versus the Sigma 150 to 600 video. Goodness. See, now that's going to be in my head. I've probably used it tons of times during this video, but until I brought that up, it hasn't even been in my head. Sigma is compatible with all the models. Like of Sony? Yes, it is. So is the Sony lens. But if you're referring to like Sigma is also compatible with Canon and Nikon, it is not, because it's a different mount. So let me let them know that. Sigma Sony mount is compatible with all Sony E-mount models. Yes. It is not compatible with Canon or Nikon models. There we go. Needs that specific amount. Abersalos Olympus EM10 Mark III. Just the best. Thanks. My third viewing and still learning. Good. I'm so glad that you can use it as a training tool for you. The Panasonic FZ80. Jenny Crowley 6664 says, thank you for providing this instruction video. It was just what I needed to learn how to use and enjoy this camera. Good. So glad I could help. J Finney 1470 for the Sony RX10 says, can you use the C2 button to be programmed to autofocus rather than halfway down on the shutter button? Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good one, J Finney. Let's take a look here because I'm not sure you can actually do that. Sony C2 button program to autofocus. I think you can do like autofocus mode, but I don't think you can do autofocus. Let's see. Yeah, so I mean, I guess if it has an autofocus on setting, then maybe. Yeah, let's see. It will allow you to if AF on is an option. All right, let's see. Joachim Lindback for the Olympus EM5 Mark III says, thanks. You're welcome. Ruby Weymouth 1234 for the Panasonic 4K Photo Burst says, you're a true hero. I just started using my camera for the first time and I was so confused and frustrated. I got some beautiful shots of horses and donkeys and thought I was stuck with 1-second videos until now. I'm so glad I could help. Hopefully you didn't get too many of those that you have to go through and save the pictures for now. JK Lynn 28 for the Panasonic Post Focus Mode says, love your shows. Does this function work with any focal length or apertures? Yes, it does. And thank you for subscribing. See here. Yes, it does. Pete Reistment for the FZ1000 Mark II says, fab video, very inspiring and much better than reading the manual and not understanding it. Well presented and easy to understand. Good. Glad I could help. DNA Gang for the Canon's Camera Connect app. Hey, I have a question. For some reason, when viewing the live mode with my G7X Mark II, I can't seem to switch to record. I don't have that option. I can only take photos. I tried to delete the app and re-download, but I still can only take photos. Let's see, for the G7X Mark II, I'm trying to think if you have to put it in a designated video mode first. Let's see. Does your G7X2 have a designated video mode? We'll start there. Okay, KPI 5654 for the P950. Hello, great video, very useful information. What I'm missing, details about the HDMI functions options. I'm interested in using an external monitor in live mode, photo and video, especially for sky photos from a tripod using a remote control to take photos, videos. Looking through the viewfinder makes no sense because it moves the camera. Fair. It is uncomfortable at used angles. Absolutely. The built-in display, on the other hand, is too small, and its resolution is not sufficient to check if the pictures are really sharp. Fair enough. My question, at which max resolutions, pixels, can I use external monitors via HDMI in live view, A, to shoot photos, and B, for shooting videos? Wow. That is a good question. Now, typically with this camera, you wouldn't look into it that much, but you can see he's using it for a very specific reason. Max resolutions, can I use external monitors? I mean, I don't know if there's a max resolution per se. I don't feel like I know enough about that enough, if I'm going to be totally honest. Let's see here. I imagine you wouldn't want to do more than 4K resolution equivalent. Reach out to Nikon themselves for more info. All right, let's see. Jeff Away 5696 for the Fujifilm Camera Remote app. Hi, when the images are transferred over to my iPhone and you swipe up on the image, you see the details such as focal length, aperture, ISO, and shutter speed with which the image was taken via the camera. I'm using a 30mm 1.4 Sigma for Fuji Prime. Going back to iPhone swipe up details, the focal length is 45. I get that it's a 30mm multiplied by 1.5, converting to, the full frame lens terms. Is this how the app works? Because I also have a Canon, but when imported via the Canon app to iPhone, when swiping up on focal length, is marked as it is and not being converted to its full frame equivalent. It really just depends on the software and it depends on the brand. It depends on how the brand wants the information converted. Actual what gear you're using, if that makes sense. Winning the Pooh Bear. Okay, for ZS80. Great overview. Question: what is the preferred type and size of SD card? I just purchased this camera for a cruise in May. This is my first digital camera. I used to shoot a lot in 35mm Nikon EM, Canon F1. But that was 100 years ago. Fair enough. So I am going to share my SD card video with him as well. Go. I would get a 64GB U3 SD card, but here is a video explaining more of what that means when you are looking. Perfect. Electra Carrington 8878 for the Nikon D56 walkthrough. Oh my gosh, my English is not the best and I wanted to learn my camera with subtitle in Swedish, but she is so amazing. I have understand almost everything. Wow. Oh, yay! Thank you for that. I tried another video, but the guy talked so fast, I couldn't get it. He should be a reporter who comments sports, not teaching. I just want to get out with my camera and try everything I have learned from you. Big thanks for that. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, that makes me so happy. I'm so glad that I could be helpful for you and that you could understand me. That's great. Woody Seeking Truth 8058 for the FZ2500. Heather, you seem pretty open to answer questions. I am. I'm just sorry it's taking me this long. My background. I've owned a FZ1000 since 2015. Great camera for overall surf and outdoor photography. Agreed. Coming from the interchangeable lens full frame gear mode, I can say the FZ1000 has been more productive than all that heavy, cumbersome, expensive gear. I'll never go back there again. Okay, glad you found what works for you. Question 1. Here in January 2023, gosh, it really has been a year, hasn't it? Do you think that Panasonic will come out with a FZ2500 Mark II? As far as I know, they haven't. Or step up to a 600 millimeter or 750 millimeter version. Doesn't seem to be the case here, seeing where they've gone in the last year. Or exceed the Sony 600 millimeter bridge camera. Background 2. I've had several Lumix cameras during transition years and had this experience where I saw a huge quality difference between a couple years in the sensor quality. Is the sensor between the FZ100 and the FZ1000 and the FZ1000 Mark II noticeably better, even though the sensor size is the same? I'd say that they're comparable. I would say you're seeing more of a difference in the way that the camera functions. I would think the chips are getting better every couple of years, which would take care of my concerns I have about the 1-inch sensor, which is actually 6 times smaller than full frame sensors. Still, I get amazing clarity making 24 by 36 inch prints. Wow, that's shocking. That's great. That's awesome. Any info as to above questions would be appreciated. Woody Woodworth. Great. Well, Woody, I'm sorry it's taken me so long to get back to you. Hello, Woody. So sorry it has taken me so long to answer you. Clearly, it doesn't look like Panasonic has made too much progress in the point and shoot area, but most manufacturers tend to have bridge cameras on the back burner. In regards to the FZ1000 Mark I versus Mark II, I think you are mostly going to see a difference in how the camera functions. Better, faster autofocus, and quality. Hope this helps. Reply. Goodness. LASZLOMTL, I don't know how to say it. Canon PowerShot G7X Mark III, very good. Laszlo Montreal photography, great. Glad I could help you. We have Lou Coleman 3506 for the ZS80. Wow, boring review? Ridiculous. I've had this camera for 2 years and I learned more in the last 32 minutes than I have in all this time. Well done, and I will rewatch as well. Great, thank you. I think because some people have put, wow, this was boring or you're annoying or stuff like that. And you guys are pretty quick to jump on those and go, what are you guys talking about? So I appreciate that too. Robin Whaley 1020 on the Panasonic 4K PhotoBurst. How can I convert a Lumix Shutterburst into a slow motion movie? I took a burst of someone jumping into the water, but have a series of stills. So you would want to do that in a video program. To do this, you can put them into a video editor and adjust the time to make them a clip. Tim Profit White, 1899 for the ZS100. I've had this camera for a few years. I needed to watch your great walkthrough to remind me of how awesome this ZS100 is. Thanks. You're welcome. Let's see, Joyce Courier, 5885 for the TG6. How do you change the language on the camera? There we go. So if we go the Olympus TG6, which is right here, I can dive into the menu here and I'll be able to tell you exactly where you can find language.
Do that and just
Let's see, that should be either in the gear or the wrench, I imagine. Here.
stuff is back.
Okay, so that's the wrench. Ah, it's right there. So in the wrench menu, it's the third option down with the little head speaking. Sometimes I hate it when they use icons. It's hard, like how the person said that there was a circle with an L in it. It's the clock. So some people don't always see it the same way. Let's in the menu, you go to wrench, third option down with the icon where the head is speaking, you can change the language. Perfect. Douglas, 7046 for the FZ80. Really well done. I've been shooting photos since I was a kid with an Argus C3 rangefinder. I've seen one of those. Those are tanks. Developing my own film and prints in black and white. I just bought this camera as a replacement to my Nikon D50. Definitely a cult following for those, which lasted a long time. And of course, my iPhone, which I love, but it's just not a camera. Your teaching style is spot on, easy to follow, and just thorough enough. Thanks. Well, I'm so glad I could help. Let's see, Scott Marcadet, 9763 for the Olympus TG6. A good balance of emphasis here and there, tough to cover a lot of features, and you did a good job. Thanks. Great, thank you. Tom Seaman Coaching for the 4K photo burst video. This was very helpful, thank you. I'm a total newbie to the cameras above and beyond my iPhone. I chose the Z80 for it's supposed to ease and use and zoom, but it's super advanced for me. Most cameras are these days. You show the Z300 in this video. Do you recommend this over the Z80 for super beginners, or does it not really matter? Thank you, your videos are great. Let's see. The FZ80 is a great beginner camera. Slow and steady. Take your time. Right, Scott 15 Dawson for the M50 Mark II. I have an M50 Mark II, and I don't have a page 5 on the settings menu. Let's see. Are you in P mode or auto mode when you're looking at your menu? Dominique Bruno for the G7X Mark III. What do you think is the best setting for taking Instagram photos? I guess it really just depends on what you're taking pictures of. Really depends on what you're photographing. But in general, the automatic mode works great. Right, let's see. Sue Marcus 9056, the FZ80. Love your videos. Do you have a tutorial and settings taking photos of products and jewelry? Thanks. I think the closest thing I have is the macro. Let's see. I'll go ahead. I'm going to share my macro video. I think that's still helpful because it's got a lot of similar looks to that. So let's see. That's going to be tips and tricks macro photography. Here we go. Share. Copy. My macro video has similar settings to what you would use for jewelry. But product photography is on my to-do list. There we go. Okay, one more. And I think I'm going to have to make this a 2, possibly 3-parter because I'm still right here in the middle. We started down here, so I'm about halfway. We'll see. Such a great video. Thanks for the thorough explanation. Do you know if the Bluetooth transfer function from camera to app still works with the latest software updates? It's a feature I'm relying on for travel, so I want to make sure I can do this. This is Nicole Brezeniak, 9052 for the ZS200. I'm hoping it worked for her 11 months ago. Hello. So sorry for the late response. I hope all has worked for you. And as far as I know, the app should still work just fine. All right, perfect. So that's that. I think I'm gonna end it because it's been gosh, how long has it been? I wish I had. Tell me. Record. Oh my gosh, so I've been live for 3.5 hours doing this. But you can see how many comments have come in. You guys are awesome for leaving your comments and being supportive and asking questions. I'm so sorry that I haven't answered these. But as you can see, my voice is I've been talking for 3.5 hours. I don't usually talk this much. It may seem that way, but especially living out here, I don't talk that much. Not nearly as much anymore. Yeah, so hopefully I can get back on and do the rest of these. I'm not going to do it back to back. I'm going to edit some videos and get you guys some new footage and everything, but you're going to see the review on the backpack. That company's been waiting and they've been so patient with me, and I'm so thankful for that. And that alone, I want to absolutely support them just for their understanding. And so you guys will see some product videos from me soon. You'll see some more menu walkthroughs. The Canon menu walkthrough is going to be coming up, as well as, hopefully you guys will see more merch. You guys, I said that I'm not just selling my work, but I'm also doing tutorials, so more one-on-one style stuff. So if you are wanting something that's more one-on-one, something where you can ask questions directly to me and get it right back, definitely let me know, reach out. Yeah, that's it. So hopefully I can get these videos going soon. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for your continued support. And hopefully I can get right back on the YouTube train and start really punching those out for you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great night.